Hello, not magic. This is a video that I'm actually very surprised I didn't make forever ago, because not magic is one of my favorite ways to execute a spell, and it's just versatile. If you have been on my channel or if you have followed me for a while, then you'll know that I personally just like things that are simple, versatile, effective, and efficient, and not magic kind of hits all of those things. It's also very low-key, in case you are practicing in secret at the moment, and not magic was one of those things that I used a lot in my practice and still do, but especially when I wasn't open about my practice. I started crocheting and sewing at a very young age. One of my grandmothers taught me how to crochet at like 7 or 8, and I just remember being obsessed with this like repetitive thing. It was meditative. I could put intention into it very easily. So that was kind of the first thing that sparked it. And then on top of that, I also had my other grandmother. She was really big into quilting and embroidery. Those were also very repetitive things. And you can create so much with just having that skill. I made a couple of my own pieces of clothing or some blankets and bags and like random little things around my home. I'm not gonna tell you that I'm amazing at it. I will just say that I can do it. I can work around some things with some trial and error. No matter where you are skill level with any of those things, you can still implement it into your practice. It's not about making it look pretty. The idea of not magic, right, is every knot that you make or every stitch that you make are thinking about that intention, or a lot of people like to chant the intention if they have like a chant. And I would prefer to make this a short thing, right? Like, I am protected, like something very short. It's not like a full sentence or like multiple things. You'll see also there are things on the internet, like by knot of 1, my spell is begun. By knot of 2, I bind you. By knot of 3, leave me be. On the internet, there's also different ones if there's only a certain amount of knots. Depends on the spell, depends on your intention, just depends on your skill level and how intricate you want to make it. Again, like I said, knot magic is effective no matter if you're literally only just tying a knot with 1 string 9 times, or if you're making a full-ass quilt. And it allows you so much creative freedom. So it doesn't matter if you love like sewing or making bracelets or whatever, but it's so easy, but you can also make it so intricate. So I absolutely adore that piece of not magic. It's also really accessible. It's not something that you need all of this stuff for. So you'll see I'm gonna be working on a protection bracelet charm thing. I just want something that I can keep on me at all times. I am a pole dancer, so you don't want to wear rings while you're pole dancing because it scratches the poles. And I want to make something that is easily movable. It's not going to snag on anything. It's you know, I can keep it on basically all the time until it breaks. So first off, like I said, when you're doing not magic, it's the idea of putting the intention into every stitch or into every knot. It doesn't have to be that rhymey thing. If that's something that you're into, which I do love rhymes and I do love the poems, but for the most part in my practice, unless it's a spell that I'm continuously going back to and have created a poem or have used like a chant spell poem thing from somebody else, for the most part, I just say my intention in the most simple, direct way that I can. With not magic, that's one of the biggest things, is you want your intention as direct and as short as possible, because for the most part, you're going to be either saying or thinking the same thing and the same intention for every knot or for every stitch. This isn't to say if you make a quilt, right? It's not going to be like you can have different intentions with the bigger the project is, because the bigger spells are, more likely the more blanketed the energy is on a situation or on a person anyway. With this is like the simplest spell ever. Negative energies, protect me from negative entities, protect me from the evil eye, protect me from jealousy, protect whatever, like whatever you want that to be. You know, you can add those like little specific things in there, but that's kind of the general idea of not magic, is the intention is repeated in some form or another. The way that I'm making this one, I'm probably just gonna braid it or do something super super simple, I really don't think that I'm gonna be doing anything insanely complicated. And if you wanna step it up just a little bit, I've also created like those friendship bracelets, and you can just type in like into YouTube friendship bracelet patterns. And there's all these different patterns, and you know, they walk you through it. And it is very repetitive, it's very meditative. So I think that that helps with the execution of the spell. And all these little patterns, like I've seen ones like with little hearts. So, you know, if you're working on being kinder to yourself or attracting love, you can use that. Like I said, I'm doing very simple knots. You can do the friendship bracelet patterns. You can make full jewelry pieces if you want to. And when I used to have long hair, I would weave little pieces into my hair, because then it was hidden, but it was also there all the time. That would be part of the spell. You could also do it with your hair, because I would also implement not magic into like if I was braiding my hair. Then if we're moving on to like something like stitching, right? Every stitch would be that intention. So you could use this, especially if you wanted to do that with a sigil. You can like kind of do like an embroidery type of sigil, and then either sew it onto a piece of clothing that you already have, or you can, you know, sew it into the inside of a pocket or someplace that wouldn't be seen, I suppose. You can sew like a small sigil onto just the piece of clothing itself. This is a blanket that I made, that I crocheted. Each of the stitches, right, as I pulled the string through, the yarn through, my intention was imbued into it. So every stitch, or at least mostly every stitch, because, you know, I'm sure I got distracted somewhere in here, but every stitch in this blanket has the same intention imbued into it. And if you want this pattern, it's called the brick stitch. I'll put it like, you know, up there down in the description where I found the pattern, but it's really easy. So quilting, it depends, because some people feel that if they're not hand stitching every stitch, then the intention isn't imbued, which in my personal opinion, I kind of agree, just because with the machine, it goes so quickly that like, how are you gonna put it into every stitch? And there's like thousands of stitches. There's just no way, unless you're hand stitching, which if you do that, Godspeed. But I'm not doing that. So with quilting, with something like that, you can do the decorative stitches by hand on the squares and add your intention into that, or, you know, do like sigils or whatever you want to do. Or you can even add like cloth embroidery sigils and put them behind the actual quilt, between the quilt and the like the batting, and then actually sew the whole quilt together, which is what I did with my nephew's quilt. And I mean, that was like a teeny little quilt, but I added in like, you know, little protection things and just general cleansing and whatever. So that would be a good example as well. You can also, if you make like, either if you make clothes, but also if you make stuffed animals, that's a really good way to sew your intention into something and gift it, or keep it, whatever you want. Gift it to like nieces and nephews, your children, other people, whatever. And that's like a really good way to do that in a low-key way. And then lastly, macrame. And if you saw my room tour, there's this stick above me that has some macrame pieces on it, and that's all not magic as well. The actual designs, again, I definitely did not do like amazing, but you can't really tell, and it, you know, the mistakes add to the aesthetic. You know, I got some good decorations out of it, so that's good for like home protection spells, or even if you are hanging a plant that maybe you work with, some kind of ally, or like a plant that you use in your practice at all, and you can hang it in that macrame planner. Or just make a macrame like wall hanging and weave other things into it. There's so many things that you can do with not magic. As I said before, this is such an easy and accessible way to execute spells or just charge something with your intention and not have it be wildly obvious that you're practicing or that you're doing something that's considered witchy, or, you know, it's not off-putting to people who don't understand or don't practice. Some of my favorite ways that I've used not magic, or I've watched and seen other people implement not magic into their practice. Clearly the bracelets are super easy to make, and they don't really take a lot of time. They're also really inconspicuous, and they can stay on you as a protection or attraction type of spell all the time until they break off, of course. And there also is that idea of like once the spell is either completed or if your protection is broken, then the bracelet will come off. Macrame is a great way to make really pretty decorations, but also make really gorgeous home decor, and also they work really well as gifts. If you crochet, if you knit, if you sew, then those are, or if you embroider, then those all are really wonderful ways to implement Not Magic and really imbue your specific projects with your intention, or just embroidering sigils into pieces of clothing or into charms that you can carry. As I've said in this video plenty of times already, I love Not Magic. It's versatile, it's easy, it's efficient, it's straightforward, and it's accessible. So, you know, try it out, see how it works for you. If you want to share any of your Not Magic creations or Not Magic ideas, then I'd love to know, because like I said, it's versatile. And so the things that people come up with is super fascinating and really awesome. So share that. You can either share it on the Discord, it's like linked down below, or I follow the hashtag Wanderlust Coven on Instagram. So if you use it, and make sure to spell it with an O, not an A. But if you use that, it will come up on my feed, and hopefully I can see some of your awesome creations, because I get to see a lot of your money bowls so far, and that's kind of amazing. But I hope that you enjoyed this video on like 101, a crash course on Not Magic. But I hope that this helped. I hope that you end up loving Not Magic as much as I do. And like I said, I'd love to see your projects. But that's it for this video. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'm Olivia. Best of luck. Be kind to each other. And may your gods treat you as you've treated others. Bye.